So today I'm with Jonathan from Cameron Ventures Group. So morning, Jonathan. How are you?
Good morning. I'm very well.
Good. So we'll sort of kick off really with basically, what do Cameron Ventures Group do?
So Cameron Ventures Group, we now own a chain of hotels. So initially it started off when I first worked for them over 10 years ago as just one hotel, a very family run, family feel business. And over the last sort of 10 years, it's expanded and expanded. And I believe we now own up to about 14 hotels. Most of them are situated in East Anglia, and others are spread across the rest of the country as far as Chesterfield, Manchester, Peterborough,
Wow.
Bicester. So we are expanding and expanding. It seems to have expanded very fast over the last 5 years.
Brilliant.
So what kind of we are about really is trying to develop people and give people opportunities. Now, I, for one, was fortunate enough when I was a lot younger and had a bit more hair to be able to have the opportunity to develop myself. So when I first started out 10 years ago, I, to be honest, had very little experience in hospitality.
Right.
I had worked at a few local pub restaurants, working in the kitchen, washing up, started at the bottom, and I've kind of developed myself to work my way up to as high as I can, really, or well, it will
Brilliant.
hopefully progress even further. But what we are aiming to do is trying to now give other people them opportunities, and perhaps to children who or teenagers or even adults who still are looking for a direction or a route in which to travel, because it's very difficult to know exactly where you want to go sometimes in life, and we're here to try and give people opportunities. So I, for one, have been given that opportunity. I talk a little bit about my development within Cameron Ventures. So I started off working for them as a waiter in the restaurant. I then moved on to be a restaurant manager, and I was then advised by the owner of the company. He said, look, I want you to start, I think this will be the better direction for you. So I then went on to working into the kitchens, and at this time I was probably about 18. I started working in the kitchens. I started off as a CDP. I then worked my way up.
What's a CDP?
So that would be a chef de partie.
Right. Okay.
So I'd already done commie work at a younger age in the pubs, and they wanted to give me this opportunity. So I started working as a chef under a great team. I was very fortunate enough. I worked under some fantastic chefs in my career. I then become a junior sous chef. I then become a sous chef. And then by the age of about 24, I become a head chef.
It's quite a short time frame, really, for that
so
growth
very short,
for you.
very short time frame. But I like to think of myself as a sponge. I try and learn a lot from everybody and try and soak up as much information as I can, because I wanted to develop myself. I never come from a background where opportunities were just handed to you. It was something that you had to earn. And that's why I was very thankful that somebody had given me an opportunity to be able to develop myself. And I kind of grabbed the ball and I ran with it. I then, at about, I think the age of about 25, I had 2 rosettes. So I become then what you'd call an award-winning chef. And then at the age of about 28, I started to think to myself, well, where do I go from here? You know, I felt like I had kind of pushed that part of my career as far as I could go. So I then have been given an opportunity now to start running hotels as a general manager myself. So that's sort of what I've been doing for the last 3 years, really. And I'm enjoying it still. But there's still even now prospect for my development still even further. What I'm trying to say is the tree, you know, carries on growing. You know, there's always room for development, no matter what you're doing, and that's something that I love about Cameron Ventures. That they're definitely a company that if you look after them, they'll look after you. And even though we've expanded, we're still trying to keep that family feel within the business, which I think is very important for the happiness of the staff as well.
Definitely. And it's lovely to hear that actually you started at the bottom. You started, you know, doing waitering and things, and you just built that up. Did you have to go to college?
So I did a lot of, I personally didn't. I have some of my colleagues that have gone that route. I personally didn't. I did a lot of my training on the job. So that was provided for me by the company and paid for me by the company. As far as, you know, my food hygiene certificates, I got a level 4 in food hygiene, which was pretty high level, and working as well under the chefs and having training records to prove what I have and I haven't done. It's helped me with my development. We provide a lot of different courses in hospitality and in management as well. Anything from a level 1 up to level 4, no matter what it is that really you feel that the route you want to go down. So the network of a hotel is a lot bigger than most people assume. When people think about a hotel, they think of the careers to be a waiter or a chef or maybe receptionist, but there's many roles within the hotel that people don't realize. You know, there has to be somebody who takes care of admin. There has to be somebody who takes care of human resources. There has to be somebody who takes care of the payroll. There might even be maintenance, you know, gardeners, electricians, etc. So the roles within the hotel industry is so broad. It also even goes into, with some hotels, the lane of where they have a spa facilities. So they might want to do beauty facilities such as spa days, manicures, you name it, it goes on, the list goes on. So it's a very broad career path, which can open a lot of doors for you. So you might go down one door and you might be a great worker, but the path you're taking, such as myself at one point, wasn't necessarily right for you. That's where I'm very fortunate in Cameron Ventures, where I've had some brilliant mentors who've been able to guide me through my path in what was the best for me when I was younger and I didn't have so much experience, you know. And so now this is something that we're trying to give now back, and I'm trying to give now back to somebody else, you know. And that's kind of what our plan is, really.
So what advice would you give a young person if they were thinking about coming to Cameron Ventures? What would they need to do? Would they need to sort of have a really good CV? Could you offer work experience? What would you say is the best way?
To be honest, both. I mean, a CV is something that you're going to need for sure. However, I wouldn't put too much pressure on yourself about the CV. A lot of it you can tell just by applying, really. You can either apply direct or you can do it via a letter or an email. I think that putting yourself out there directly wins a lot of people over and perhaps opens the door a lot easier for you, because it shows that you have that courage to be able to do that, and it wins a lot of respect, I think, from people. The main thing really is how you approach the situation and how you broadcast yourself, and what manners you do that in.
Actually, that leads me quite nicely on to my next question. What skills were you looking for in a young person if they were coming to you?
Determination, ambitious, and somebody as well who has good people skills. I mean, at the end of the day, we work in hospitality, and we deal with people day in and day out, and so that has to be something that you feel comfortable with. Although saying that, we do have a little saying within hospitality that we quite often attract the shy type, and that tends to be the people who do thrive as well. So, you know, when you're working as well with people, you have to be able to work as a team. So I like to say myself that I'm only as good as my team, because without them, I'm nothing. Yeah,
Oh,
there's no
that's lovely
point.
to hear.
There's no point. Yeah, the doors might as well shut. So because it's such a team orientated, like certain sports as well, you know, such as like football. If you aren't working together as a team, you can't win. Yeah, and at the end of the day, our goal is to win and succeed. So we can then be able to give people lovely bonuses or pay rises or new equipment. You know, this is all part of working together to achieve the same goal, you know. So obviously them things are them things that I have advised for you to have are things that we can also help you develop with. I'm not saying that you're going to come into a job and you're going to be fantastic at everything. By God, I wasn't fantastic at everything. You know, it's things that I've had to learn to adapt to be able to do. And that's something we can help you with and teach you with. And that's part of your then development. And that would give us great satisfaction in seeing that happen.
Oh, you've given some really useful tips there for young people sort of to get into your industry. And I love the fact that actually you've said about all the different roles, you know, that, you know, having beauty therapy, gardeners, all those sorts of things, because you just think about, don't you, the restaurants, the bedrooms of a hotel and things like that, the hospitality side of that. So it's really good that you've given that information.
And the back office side of things, you know, they get really undercredited. We have a massive team who work in our central reservations and help deal with issues that go on within all the hotels. And if it weren't for them, I wouldn't get my pay slip at the end of the month either. So, you know, there's so many routes within hospitality.
It's lovely. I'm just going to ask you one more question. I'll let you go.
No problem.
What advice would you give your younger self?
What advice would I give my younger self? God, it's a tough question. To stay focused and don't get too distracted.
Brilliant. That's a really good piece of advice. That's good advice for you know, people my age as well. So keep focused, you know. So, oh, thank you so much, Jonathan. That was lovely to chat to you.
No problem. You too.